What's up guys, Ontario Bassin back here, and today we're going to be talking about crankbaits. Cue the intro.
Mr. Bombastic, we want some bombastic, romantic, fantastic lover.
Okay guys, as I said before there, we're going to be talking about crankbaits. So we're going to be talking about shallow crankbaits, mid to deep depth crankbaits. We're going to kind of leave deep diving crankbaits in the picture as I don't use them too often, but we're also going to touch base on lipless crankbaits, but kind of drift away from the larger baits too, like bigger pallets or really any body baits really. So here we go. Okay, to start off with shallow diving crankbaits, but before we get there, crankbaits in general. Crankbaits, I do not fish all year round. Well, you could. I throw them most of the year, but the main part of the year that I throw these is the first half of bass season. On that first half of bass season, mainly the first month of bass season, because right after ice is out, crankbaits are hot. And I'm not exactly sure why, but lipless crankbaits in red color, just like that, kill bass in early spring. I mean, absolutely destroy them. And see here, these lipless crankbaits have rattles in them, which a lot of lipless crankbaits do, which is good, just fishing regular, but I can see where non-rattles, see this one's got really good rattles, but where no rattles in a lipless crankbait comes in good when you're fishing either heavily pressured water or just like really heavily pressured water. You just gotta try something new. Like everyone's throwing those lipless crankbaits, just try one that doesn't have beads in it. So let's get on to shallow diving crankbaits here. So okay, now for shallow crankbaits. So I mainly fish Kevin Van Dam crankbaits, Rapala crankbaits, and Storm crankbaits. Now not Storm that much, but also got a couple other ones in here that you guys might know the name of, such as Bomber crankbaits, and a couple other ones sucked in here. So crankbaits, as in general, as I said, for lipless we went over this, but crankbaits, a lot of people cast them out and those reel them in regular like that, and they'll probably are fishing in 10 feet of water, so they'll probably pick 5 or 6, maybe even 7 or 8 foot diving crankbait. No, that's wrong. Do not do that. Fish, say if you're fishing 10 feet of water, fish a 10, 12 feet diving crankbait, sorry about that. Because you want that crankbait to be hitting off rocks, logs, and everything off bottom. Because this early in the year, the first month of spring, there's not going to be very much vegetation. There's going to be no grass, no weeds, or anything growing up. Because it just came back from the winter. So the only thing you got to worry about is rocks and logs. You just want your crankbait to be hitting off bottom with that. You just want it to be hitting off that. Because really, the crankbait is mostly a reaction style. Well, it kind of looks like a minnow. You can get some of them that kind of look like a minnow. Here, hold up. Like this. That's a really good minnow, shiner to be exact, presentation style crankbait. That's made by Rapala. That's the jointed shad. But this is mainly a reaction style bait. So what that means is, as soon as it either hears that or it starts making like just ruckus around there, starts hitting rocks, starts disturbing piece, a fish just a reaction is going to come and take that. So as I said, red early in the year is really good, but really early, like first month of that bass season, kind of less of the crazy crankbaits, a little bit more finesse. So I'm not going to be throwing square bill crankbaits, because these are, square bills have big wide action compared to a nice tight, hold up, let's find one, compared to a tight lip like that, a round lip. These ones have more subtle back and forth like that. Some might call it more finesse, but. And pretty much same with medium dive baits, crankbaits. If you're fishing in, for sure these go from like range from 10 to 18 feet. Here's one of my favorite crankbaits of all time. Got the Bill Dance Fat Free Guppy, and that tears where I live. Ontario, I throw that. Even in later in summer, heavy vegetation areas, just rip that through the weeds, especially those lipless crankbaits. If you can get something kind of match patch, and you just rip it through the weeds. But with lipless crankbaits, as I said earlier, most people will just cast these out and rip them through the waters, just like that. Just keep your own constant. And sure, you're going to pick up the odd one like doing that. Pick up the odd one, just cast it and reel them back in. What I like to do to get that reaction and that fish attention, cast it out, I'll reel it in a little bit. But there's something about that fall, if you just let fall, that really gets them to strike on that. So I'll reel it in, let fall, and zoom it back up quick, reel it in, let fall, just like that. Let fall, zoom it up, let it fall. So yeah, pretty much same diving crankbaits. The only difference is for deeper diving crankbaits, I like to go with a little bit more craw patterns on bottom. Like, hold up. There's a really nice craw pattern. I like using that a little bit later in the summer. Or fire tiger patterns look really good a little bit deeper down. Anything like greenish or brownish works. Just like that, just anything. Or if I happen to find really heavily pressured water or really crystal clear water, that might throw them off a little bit, so I might go with a little bit more natural presentation. Not natural, I mean like, not natural. I might go with a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? Can't think of it. You guys know what I mean though. And deep in crankbaits, same thing applies. Get that, whatever's going to be on that bottom half, well, whatever's going to be in that deeper water, the crayfish are going to be stacked up under rocks and a little bit deeper. Even the shallow. If you get shallow, then crayfish patterns, like that, those work. Shallow. But a little bit later on, I like to throw more natural presentations because the bass are going to be spawning. They're right when that season opens. So I like to throw maybe that because where I fish, they spawn a lot, and you see those baby bass come out to shore. And sometimes you'll see a pike or even a bass swirl those. So chuck that out. And that's actually a scatter wrap series. Same with these crankbaits. They have crazy motions. So that really gets that reaction bite off them. So that pretty much covers it all. So but aside from that, I won't use square bill crankbaits if you don't know what I mean by square bill. With a square bill opposed to a round bill like that. I won't throw square bill crankbaits that are earlier in the year. I'll use more later in the year when the fish get more aggressive, because when they're coming off in that winter, hard winter, they won't be quite aggressive as it will be opposed to later that summer. So that pretty much wraps it up. So please leave a like, subscribe, favorite, and peace.